Doomsday will be your last day, Hogan. You want a last meal? You better hurry up and order. We cannot coexist in this planet, Hogan.
It's Doomsday.
We are the Alliance to eliminate Hulkamania! Woo!
Hogan, my back's against the wall. That makes me very dangerous and very angry. And Hogan, it's gonna be survival of the fittest.
It's a podcast about pro wrestling movies and pro wrestling movies. Hosted by Lumberjake, Mike Pava, and JC. We constantly bicker, but we are best friends. From No Holds Barred to The Naked Man, the fun never ends. Be sure to stick around for our mascot, Mr. Peacock, and a great wrestling show that truly rocks.
Hey everyone, welcome to Three-Way Theater.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Pava.
I'm Lumberjake.
And I'm JC.
And this is Best in Show.
What?
Where we review like a pay-per-view.
Uh-huh. Well, because normally we review pro wrestling.
Movies.
And pro wrestling movies.
Exactly.
Right. And, of course, with that pro wrestling, we have Best in Show where we... Lumberjake picks something out of the archives, just a random event.
Take something out of there, a modern-day classic.
Yeah, a modern-day classic is one way to put it.
Yeah.
And we go in and we review the entire card. We take a look to see what the Best in Show was. But we, it's normally the three of us because we're normally three peas in a pod.
Cast.
But for Best in Show, we have a fourth, right? Who do we got today?
We have the former Todd Harris. We have Brett Ryan Gosselin.
Hey, it's Brett Ryan Gosselin, and you're listening to Three-Way Theater!
That's a pretty good...
Boom.
We
Lumberjake, Mike Pava, and JC.
That's me.
What's going on, guys, man? How are you?
Is he
in gimmick right
He's
now?
our new announcer.
I was gonna say, is he like interviewing to be our new announcer?
Yeah.
Are you in character right now?
Yeah.
You gonna be our Andy Richter?
Now hold on. Does this mean it's his first time on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yes.
First time, long time.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
And the fire truck is going by. Don't mind that.
Nope, that was just me, guys.
So what we do, as you mentioned, we pick a Best in Show. We also pick a Worst in Show.
Do we ever?
Uh-huh. That's always fun.
Sometimes it's hard to pick a Best in Show.
Sometimes they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's been voted for Best in Show and Worst in Show. We also pick our favorite spot of each match.
Correct.
As
Yes.
well.
Yes. Lumberjake, I have to ask you. First of all, I guess we should unveil the curtain here. The event we're reviewing is WCW Uncensored 1996.
Yeah, what some people would say was like the pinnacle of WCW.
I don't think.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think so.
The pinnacle of WCW and NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Okay.
That's
All
what people would say.
So what is it because it's the pinnacle? Is that why you chose this event? What made you pick Uncensored 96?
Well, first of all, I love picking things that came out before our guest was born.
He was born by then, wasn't he? Weren't
No.
you? No? Jesus Christ.
know-
My parents weren't even married at this point.
Yeah, it's actually funny. This show happened. This show happened, and it had the street fight between the LOD and Booker T and Sting, right?
Sure did.
Had the Chicago street fight. Well, this event happened, and then 1 year later, nearly to the day, they had the Chicago street fight at WrestleMania 13.
Mm-hmm.
So And then February 27th, 1998, Todd Harris was born.
So really, 3 years in a row, very important historical events took place.
Very like boom, boom, boom.
Wow. So this event took place on March 24th, 1996.
Yeah. It's in the Tupelo Coliseum in Tupelo, Mississippi.
I
That's
saw
right.
this on pay-per-view.
Sure did.
I-
I'm sure you have a VHS of it somewhere in the giant box that I just left at Lumberjake's house.
Now, was it a VHS copy off of the black box, or was it a
Yes.
actual
Taped.
turn-on
Yes.
video?
No, it's taped off the
Yeah.
VCR from the black box.
Nice.
I didn't get to see it.
Maybe you can let Todd. Excuse me. What are we calling you again?
Brett?
Brett.
Ryan
Brett.
Gosselin?
Yes.
Yeah, just call him Ryan Gosselin.
Oh, okay.
I prefer BRG.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah.
BRG.
I was going to call you B-Rye.
Don't worry, just look at my forearm.
Oh, shit!
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
even.
going to make things so much
I
easier.
thought that was a Ruth Bader Ginsburg tattoo. I'm so confused. I'm a little dyslexic, so you gotta. Sorry about that.
Oh my
That's-
arm, I was like,
No, I'm just a
Yeah.
little sorry.
So the show drew about 9,000 fans, roughly 100 shy of capacity.
It's not bad.
So
Should've been refunded.
well,
This
they,
was in Biloxi, Tupelo.
Tupelo, Mississippi.
Tupelo.
So
Mississippi.
almost near where Heroes of Wrestling took place.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
almost.
The tagline of the show was everything you wanted to see, plus the stuff you haven't thought of yet.
Mikey, what was happening in the world of wrestling at that time?
Well, guys,
A lot of better shit.
on March 5th, Kevin Nash officially gave notice that he would be leaving WWF to go to WCW when he called Vince McMahon on the morning of March 5th, just a couple weeks before.
Okay.
Sid Vicious, who was 35 at the time, announced on Memphis TV on March 2nd that because of neck and shoulder injuries that he would be retiring from wrestling.
Man, what a loss.
Yeah,
we never saw him wrestle
Never to
again
come
after
back.
that.
Yeah.
He had a great career. And Jesse Ventura prevailed for the third time in his lawsuit regarding royalties against the WWF, this time on the Supreme Court level, when the court refused without comment to overturn the original decision made in a Minnesota court. Ventura was awarded $809,000 in royalties, more than $200,000 in accrued interest on the original award on 90 WWF videotapes that he appeared on as either a commentator, a wrestler, or anything such as that.
Now, during that time, I remember some of the VHS home releases that had, like, throwback matches that Jesse Ventura commentated on. They redubbed them with Gorilla Monsoon and Stan Lane.
Correct. Now, I guess part of the lawsuit was the fact that he was told when he was signing his contract that nobody got royalties for anything as far as videotapes go unless your name was on the tape, like it was a best of whoever.
Hillbilly Jim.
That's why,
Correct.
Johnny Bloopers from Bloopers, Blops, and Slams, he gets paid really well.
I rented that so many times.
Me too.
Um,
That and The Biggest, The Smallest, The Strangest, and The Strongest. That was another classic.
That's a good one.
is
Yeah.
Jesse one of those guys? He's one of the only ones that ever got one over on Vince.
Yeah, that's true. And also Raven, when he successfully filed for unemployment after he got released.
Yes. I love Raven. We've talked about that, how much
Fucking
I
amazing.
love Raven.
He's so smart.
He is.
So this show happened a week before WrestleMania 12, which was it really goes to show you where the world of wrestling was at, where you had this main event, and then a week later you had Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in a fucking Iron Man match.
So you have one of the worst main events versus one of possibly the best main events.
well, here's the thing. This
You're
was
right. This Doomsday Cage, amazing.
this match. I got this on pay-per-view when I was 5-6 years old, and I don't remember much about it, but I remember enjoying it.
So here's my lukewarm take.
okay.
I like this show. Now I'm not saying I liked the matches. I'm not saying that I liked the main event. I'm not saying I liked any of that, but I like this show, and I think it's because the lack of an alternative wrestling company out there, it's just WWE now, and it's very just like manufactured from the McMahon world. WCW was its own thing, man, and there's a charm to it for as bad as it is.
I think you're looking through rose-colored glasses right now.
Oh, I'm very
Or-
nostalgic for
Or
it. I
Gorilla
absolute-
Monsoon-colored glasses, as I would say.
Now, you see, I'm not nostalgic whatsoever about this shit.
That's true.
That's right. You have no.
Memory.
preconceived.
Right, because really at this time, like, Hogan was just about to turn. The NWO was supposed to come. ECW was rising
Right.
as this phenomenon, and to have a pay-per-view where the tagline is,
Everything you wanted to see, plus the stuff you haven't thought of yet.
Right.
well,
That's true though. That's a true tagline.
okay.
Here's the thing. I mean, obviously, Mikey, you and I have talked about how much we were hardcore ECW fans.
Right.
I was a WWF kid over WCW, but there is a piece of me that watches this and says, "There's no way something like this could ever be produced today from another company." And I think that's why, like, even though like this whole all elite wrestling thing hasn't really started yet, it's still in its very baby nucleus. Any kind of alternative, I think, is a positive for this business.
Of course.
And I think, for better for worse, WCW was a super alternative.
But what part of the show, you just said it might not have been the matches.
There's
It was
little
what
things
was it
that I
about
know.
the
We'll get
Okay.
we'll get into it, but
All
I mean, like, there's little things like even just having good old Stagger Lee. You know,
Stagger Lee Marshall.
Yeah, you know.
Did you know, Brett? Did you know that Stagger Lee Marshall, the backstage ring announcer, that was the voice of Tony the Tiger?
Uh-huh.
The guy with the mustache.
But now you have to tell him who Tony the Tiger is.
Tony the Tiger. There was this cereal called Frosted Flakes.
I've heard it. It's great.
Did you see?
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
Yeah, he seemed very genuine about that.
So a funny backstage note before the show.
Yes.
Ric Flair, Bobby Heenan, and Gene Okerlund still hadn't arrived to the building. The story is, and this comes straight from the Observer, is that they got lost trying to find Tupelo coming from the Memphis airport the day of the show. Usually, of course, everyone gets there a day beforehand, at least in this time. So they didn't make it. That's why Lee Marshall opened the main event show beforehand. Ric Flair missed the first heel interview on main event. And that's why Bobby Heenan wasn't in a suit and was dressed in his leather jacket.
Yeah, right.
Because he didn't have time to change.
He was wearing his Mike Pava outfit.
So that's also why at the end of the pay-per-view, when Heenan's going off, Shivani tells him, "No, don't get lost on your way."
That's funny. A little inside a little rib.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they were also very drunk because my notes have that Gene Okerlund was trashed the entire show.
I mean,
Yeah, those have been in my notes every single Gene Okerlund appearance we've had on the show.
I think there was especially in some of the interviews, maybe the one with Loch Ness.
Oh my God.
we'll get there.
we'll get
Not
there.
to speak ill of the dead.
Oh,
but
no,
holy
listen,
shit,
I love
he was,
Gene.
He was on. I don't care if he had a fucking
Yeah,
few
no.
cold ones,
But
some gin and water or something.
But there's
like
a
that.
reason why they got
oh,
lost.
that's the Okerlund.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason why they got lost.
Also, you mentioned main event as the pre-show.
Yes.
Also happening on that was Mr. JL beat Dean Malenko. So Jerry Lynn beat Dean Malenko. Jim Duggan beat Big Bubba Rogers. Dick Slater beat Alex Wright when Medusa ran out and chased Colonel Robert Parker around the ring. Dick Slater hit Alex Wright with his boot and knocked him out for the win.
Love it.
And then the Steiner brothers and the Nasty Boys went to a no contest when the LOD ran in.
Like, that's amazing to me that the Steiner brothers are on main event. Like, okay, and again, I'm again nostalgic, rose-tinted glasses. There's just something, when this roster is so stacked. Now, granted, what they put on the pay-per-view wasn't their strongest, but on the that's a pretty solid little main event.
Yeah,
Like,
but you have to think, because of that show, you could call Mr. JL and, Dick Slater, they were main eventers.
it's true.
They appeared on main event every week, main eventers.
Yeah,
All right.
that's why in WWF I called them halftime heaters. All right, so if you listen to the beginning of this episode, you heard the incredible intro to Uncensored 96.
That's word for word the opening. Of
That
the
is the
pay-per-view.
opening. I listened to it and I stopped and I rewound it and I was like, wait a second, what did I just watch? And I felt we needed to do that intro.
That Jimmy Hart laugh.
I don't know who did that Jimmy Hart laugh, but they did a great job.
Jimmy Hart he was just so over the top, and him and Lex Luger were working so well together, in my opinion. JC, we're also looking at the poster for Uncensored.
Yes.
There's something that Brett pointed out.
Uh-huh.
Would you, if you'd like to point that out again?
We have
The big.
just to add to the shit that's already on this. The fact that we have Bane from Batman and Robin on this poster.
It's just straight up Bane's at fucking head.
Here's what we need to understand about that. Batman and Robin came out in 1997.
So that's 2 years after, or a year
Well,
after the show, whatever.
So Jeep Swenson,
Yep.
who plays the character of the Ultimate
Yes.
Solution,
Get it right.
at Uncensored 96 in the Doomsday Cage, he was playing the role of Bane in Batman and Robin, and he must have been filming. And basically, they must have done pictures on set. There's the only reason, because it takes about a year to film it and get everything out there. Batman and Robin came out in June of 1997.
But the picture that they use of Lex Luger, that looks like Lex Luger in fucking the year 2000.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe there's more time travel involved, just like that old three-way theater conspiracy
With the Zodiac?
with Zodiac being in Mr. Nanny. Years
That made
before.
no sense. And if you thought the Zodiac made no sense, wait till you see the Booty Man.
But this is a great
him.
picture of Hulk. This is truly a memorial photo where they're all just looking up in the clouds.
Yeah, it looks like they're all looking down from heaven.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
Well,
they were
a
all.
lot of these are dead. A lot
Yeah.
of these guys are dead.
Now, what was the WCW name for Hogan and Savage? They couldn't be the Mega Powers.
They sure fucking
Yeah, they
called
were.
them that.
Yeah, they were.
They did call them that multiple times.
They
but
were the
weren't-
Mega Powers.
Oh, but
I don't know how they got away with it.
You mentioned these guys looking like they're up in heaven and shit. This pay-per-view actually broke a record for three-way theater.
oh no,
Most deaths on a show.
Wow.
that's impressive.
The most people that have passed away are currently on a show. The list is Eddie Guerrero, Loch Ness, Hawk, Randy Savage, Ultimate Solution, Woman, Miss Elizabeth, Bobby Heenan, Dusty Rhodes, Lee Marshall, and Mean Gene.
11 people.
Wow,
Yeah, breaking the former record set by WrestleMania X7.
I didn't even know Loch Ness was sick.
He was very sick.
Oh,
At the time of the pay-per-view,
yeah,
I'm
that,
sure.
that
Yes.
actually makes a lot of sense.
Didn't
Yes.
he only live for like another year after this?
Sure did.
Well,
And,
That leg drop was rough.
let's dive in.
Before we...
Oh,
Hold on, real quick. I have... so the Doomsday Cage was originally supposed to be a 4-on-1 match
okay.
with
Oh.
4 levels,
Okay.
but apparently Hulk Hogan used his creative power to have that changed a week before the show. So I can only assume that it would have been Ric Flair, Arn Anderson,
And it was going to be
somebody
Sullivan,
else, and
Sullivan.
Sullivan and Pillman.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, Pillman was a last-minute addition.
It was,
and
I believe it was going to be one of the face. I think it was going to be It was going to be Anderson, Flair, and the Faces of Fear.
that makes sense.
Megan Barbarian.
I read that Faces of Fear were a last-minute substitution for other people.
And
as
also,
well.
Loch
There was
Ness.
some kind of
Loch Ness said
solution.
was he was going to be in it
Right,
also.
Loch Ness was supposed to be in this match as well, but he got pulled out at the last second.
Right.
Brian Pillman was supposed to be in this match, but he was in the height of
But
his
he
loose
also-
cannon character.
Well,
So I've been reading the Titan trilogy by James Dixon. So the 1995 year was Titan Sinking, 1996 was Titan Shattered, and I'm just starting the 1997 year, which is Titan Screwed. And it just goes one calendar year talking about the WWF. And so I just finished reading the 1996, which obviously talked a lot about Pillman. And this was during the height of the loose cannon, where he was starting to work the boys and get this plan with Bischoff to get himself released from his WCW contract, making some appearances in ECW. And basically, Pillman was hot as fuck. He was getting a lot of attention online. There was a buzz about him, and Hogan saw that. And so in the lead-up, the week before, Uncensored, he pitched the idea to add Pillman to the match.
and
So-
that's because Pillman made an unannounced appearance on the March 11th version of Nitro.
Right.
And Hogan, like you said, saw this and was like, hey, brother, come work with me.
The original plan for the Go Home episode of Nitro was Hogan and Savage beat the shit out of Brian Pillman. Out comes Z Gangster and Ultimate Final Solution come out to make the save, run, and Hogan and Savage back off. But when that was happening, Pillman avoided Hogan like the fucking plague and refused to come anywhere near him.
Yep.
Hogan tried to grab him, and Pillman legit like ripped his hair out of his head to like keep away from Hogan, because he knew as soon as he ate the fucking leg drop, that's it for the fucking character.
You're not going to be this big free agent playing both sides if you let Hogan fucking take you out with the leg drop.
Yeah, there goes all your credibility, all your fucking marketing power.
And that's why Brian was so fucking smart. So he, like, him and Bischoff talked about it, and the plan was for him to be on this team at Uncensored. And then that's why I love, when we get to the main event, but like Schiavone, they don't know if Pillman's actually going to show up or not. So they just keep on mentioning
Because
him.
to them, the last thing they saw was the Saturday night shows, which kept saying Pillman's going to be in this in
Gabbo,
this shit.
Gabbo, Gabbo!
Speaking of Schiavone, isn't it weird that he's the only alive?
Yeah, announcer.
Hey,
And-
leave David Penzer alone.
And his career's striving bigger than ever, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's doing fucking fantastic for himself.
Definitely.
I've actually spoken to Tony Schiavone once in a 2-minute conversation. saying
You did?
Thank you. Yep.
Oh,
Because you
Oh,
bought
did
one of
you
his
buy a
shirts?
shirt?
No, I was on Patreon.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
so
Are you going to subscribe to our Patreon?
Yeah, how many people do you subscribe to?
I've already. Okay, You're wondering why that Todd Harris is like gone now. He's poor.
All the Patreon.
I see.
all the Patreon.
All the Patreons.
You have funded so many podcasts for so long
See, I told
that
you.
it put you out of business.
Somebody will pay for it.
Our first pay-per-view match of the night is Eddie Guerrero taking on K-Dog.
What?
Conan. Well, I guess it was pre-K-Dog.
It was.
So-
it was
so
Max
weird.
Moon K-Dog.
No, see, this is the best version of Conan.
I agree.
like once he started talking downhill.
Once he started wearing jeans,
yeah,
forget about
lost
it.
all interest. This is the best Conan.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I'm so used to seeing Conan in those jeans,
Just
and everything,
gangsta.
and being this like gangsta guy. Plus, I've been
This
watching
is-
Impact lately. It's like weird.
He's still on
seeing him
Impact?
Like, yes. It's weird seeing him like this.
This is original, like Mexican heartthrob,
He was in
soap
good
opera
shape.
star. Like, yeah, he looked great, but you could still tell that it was Conan because
'Cause he
he
got
was
blown
so
up.
blown up and lazy.
But here's
Yeah.
the thing.
This whole
I
match
was
was
still
just-
fooled because he was still AAA Conan that I'm like, oh, this guy can go.
This
And
must
then
be
he
good.
didn't.
But he's able to he's able to do so much with so little.
Yeah.
he can do such amazing things, but he just cares. He just decides not to.
I always think about it was 1998, right before Jericho left, and I think it was like it might have been Starrcade, but it was Conan versus Jericho for the WCW TV title, and it was probably the laziest I've ever seen Conan, and it was also Jericho on his way out, and he didn't give a
So
fuck.
he's just phoning it in.
And I'm like, wow, like that made me real. I'm like, holy fuck, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
And one of the things that bothers me the most, and I think this is a lucha thing, because when he throws Guerrero off the ropes, he doesn't even step to the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
you know
he's
what I
at
mean?
the
He's
back
just like,
rope still.
He's just like,
Shove.
like gives him a little shove, like it's not
He-
even trying.
during the first 5 minutes of this match, Conan was bringing it.
Yep.
I thought he was doing
Agreed.
great.
Yep.
But then he got
They both
gassed,
were.
and he just couldn't be bothered. I get it, though. I don't think it was lazy. It was he was gassed, so he was kind of just half-assing it because
Okay.
he was
I mean, I'll
couldn't
give
put
that,
forth
of course.
the
I
effort.
was honestly bored by this match.
But if you go back and watch other Conan matches, like that's something that happens that you can see in after every Conan match.
Right.
With that said, though, I still see him having a lot better matches than this. This one was just
Can you name me your favorite Conan matches?
no.
Just checking.
All right.
That's okay. I'm not,
There's no favorites.
I did love his Max Moon outfit though coming out.
Yeah,
It was really,
that was cool. He had the little mask on and shit.
This was the only title match on
That's
the
what
entire
I said.
show.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What's even crazier is the fact that normally looking at WCW in the past, it's a lot of cruiserweights start off, but now you have the United States title starting off, but yet you still have two guys that would be considered cruiserweights.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See that this pay-per-view shows you exactly what I think of when I think of WCW pay-per-views.
How great it is.
A fantastic opening card
Mm-hmm.
followed by a shitty main event.
Meltzer called the what was his title for? Was it the TV title? US
United
title?
This
States.
is the U.S.
title.
title.
He called the United States title a something to promise international talent to get them to sign on, because Kensuke Sasaki, right before this, was the champion, and he got that to come over. One Man Gang beat him, and then Konnan beat One Man Gang.
At Starrcade '95, which was the the New Japan versus WCW tournament.
Yep.
Worlds collide, man. That shit was fun.
Also, guys, did you know that the winner of this match is the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title?
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, that's what Tony Schiavone said.
But I was under the impression that the winner of Loch Ness versus the
Oh, yeah.
Giant
Yeah,
was...
you would think so.
I mean, are you trying to say that they might be incorrect or they might be mixing things up?
I think they're trying to like back like when the Intercontinental Champion
was like the #1 contender
exactly,
default.
and I think that's kind of what they were going for, but they didn't think
Say it
like,
correctly.
oh hey, like we got this match later on. It's the Giant and Loch Ness, and whoever wins faces Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion, tomorrow night on Nitro.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like I get what they were trying to do, but it was like, huh? When's this gonna happen?
We've talked about in the early '90s WCWs that we've reviewed about some of the stashes, and the stashes have come back in full force.
Mustaches?
The porn stashes.
Yeah.
The Eddie Guerrero mustache is glorious.
Viva la raza.
Just-
Am I right?
Yeah, we'll just wait another match, and you'll get another fantastic mustache.
Watching this, would you ever believe that Eddie Guerrero would someday become WWE World Champion?
This match,
At the-
no.
At this, watching this match,
At the time,
could you
or-
ever?
or like
I mean, just okay. As of somebody watching in '96, could you ever fathom
No.
that this man would be like? I mean, we didn't know what Brock Lesnar was at that point, but but just to see the evolution of Guerrero,
I
how
think
amazing!
Eddie, I heard somebody describe him as the Mexican Shawn Michaels,
Okay.
where he can do anything you ask him to do, and he's out there and he has charisma. And I think it just took him a lot longer to find his groove.
At this stage in his career, I'd say I wouldn't be able to tell that he was going to be a star. When he had his initial heel turn, that would be when the star power was really coming out.
Well, like even when he's still Los Gringos Locos Guerrero here. Like
Yeah.
he's still like when he
What
was,
about when he was emotionally manipulating Chavo?
yeah.
Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler.
Stockholm Syndrome Chavo.
Yeah.
I feel like Eddie Guerrero didn't really take off until after his match with Mysterio at Halloween Havoc in '97.
Yeah.
Then that's when people start to really talk about him and
Take him
Mysterio.
seriously.
but I
in
think
general.
even then it took him years later just to break through to the main event status. So he was always a good hand and can have great matches.
And I think his charisma didn't really connect until after he was already basically like over WCW and he didn't give a fuck anymore. And he was
Exactly.
just doing his own like character. Like when he was doing the gimmick where like one of the luchadors stole his wallet and he made all the luchadors unmask in a skit backstage, and all the luchadors had their backs to the camera and they were taking off their masks one at a time, and Eddie was reacting to their faces. He's like, "Oh man, Psychosis, you're handsome. Why don't you wear that mask?" Like, and then fucking the Cheetah Kid takes off his mask. He's like, "Prince Ikea, what?
Eddie Guerrero didn't become a superstar until Mamacita with China.
Okay.
Okay.
That
All
was
right.
like
Yeah.
that was it.
All right.
me.
I agree with you. I think Ruth Bader. I think whatever. I think you hit the nail on the head there, where you felt that this was too long. I thought that was a problem with a lot of the matches.
Yes, yes,
Where they
yes.
I would have so I would have probably thrown Steiners and the Nasties on the main show, and
I'll
I
get
would
to
have
that.
And
But this isn't the match I would have fucking taken the time out of.
I'm saying I would have taken time out of a lot of the matches and given them elsewhere.
Let's just have an hour-long show. Wrap it up.
How do we feel about the BJ finish?
Okay.
Okay, before we get there, what were your spots of the match?
the Flair bump
blowjob.
reversal.
Okay, yeah, the Flair reversal I liked when he went for to toss him off the top and he turned it into an inside cradle.
That actually was my spot of the match.
I enjoyed that.
My favorite spot was Konnan gave Eddie a monkey flip and Eddie landed on his feet. Like it was.
Oh yeah,
And it
he
was
did
beautiful.
that perfectly.
It was beautiful. And fucking 1996.
I loved Eddie Guerrero using the camel clutch, a move that his father invented. So seeing him do that was a cool little tribute.
I prefer the Muhammad Hassan version.
Okay, Mikey too.
So the finish comes. Maybe.
It comes all right.
It was a weird low blow.
Okay. Was
a
it
blowjob?
Was it an intentional?
No,
low blow?
no,
That's
I
the
think that's
question.
like the point of.
I'm just asking you guys if you think it was
But
intentional.
I've seen people land like that
For real?
in offensive moves all the time, and they don't sell it. like all the time.
That's because they don't go to Dick.
I rewatched this show while listening to something to wrestle with. Tony Schiavone, they did a watch along, and Tony Schiavone said in his notes they said it was going to be a low blow finish and to sell that.
Tony Schiavone has something to wrestle with, right?
What
happened?
What happened when? Excuse me.
Man, he just burned you good.
Oh man,
Get your shit right.
JC, edit that out.
Don't insult my personal friend Tony Schiavone.
Patreon subscriber.
Oh.
Just wearing a pin.
I think that they had an idea and they tried to execute it, and it just
They should have executed it.
I thought it was fun.
So
I think maybe it shouldn't have been on first.
okay,
go for that finish.
most of the finishes were off.
course.
the
Okay.
show.
And
What should have went on first?
That's you know what? We had fucking 4 pre-show main event matches. Just like JC said, you can just throw one of those
JL
up
on
there.
there.
Do you think the crowd suffered because they were already 4 matches in?
I don't know if that's
That you know what you would think they were, but
no, because they got into when
They
they
sure
did that
did.
opening spot where they slapped each other. The crowd was hot.
they were there
Yeah.
for the match. They just the
Oh
finish.
yeah, they did that Mexican standoff spot. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
The finish just was kind of like,
Meh.
like we were having this good match, and then it just kind of ends like that.
And I feel like-
thought it was fine.
And I feel like they were teasing Conan to be more of a heel,
Mhm.
and they were building that, and then they just kind of let it go. So I think if you committed to one or the other playing more heel, the crowd would have been.
The crowd was for both.
Yeah, I agree.
They
yeah.
they were split.
Baby
Baby
matches
baby's
are
hot.
tough.
And you know when
Baby
you
baby's
have a baby, I mean,
Tell me, baby. What happens when you have a baby?
What better to follow it?
Are
with?
you Dusty Rhodes?
what
Oh, they
better
be clubbering.
Let me see what we got a pay window.
JC, how long did that match feel to you?
Woo!
This is gonna be a fun one to play that
yeah.
game
It
with.
is.
I'm gonna go 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
It was 18:27.
Nice.
All right, I'm within
A
a
minute,
minute.
yeah.
All right.
Next up, we got a Colonel Robert Parker
We
and
sure
Dick
do.
Slater promo, where Colonel Robert Parker dedicates this upcoming match to Dick Slater, great uncle Colonel Tom Parker, Red and all the boys, and of course Elvis himself.
So this is my first note of is Gene drunk because he's corpsing left and right. There are points when Rob Parker's just going off and Gene's just like
Yeah, but see, Gene's great because he's got Dick Slater next to him, and he's got the microphone. Colonel Robert Parker's talking, but he kind of like turns his head and sniffs Dick Slater like he stinks.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like,
listen,
Gene
love it.
literally just got to the building 15 minutes earlier.
And I love it. And
He
I
probably was sauced.
and this is where I think about again that WCW nostalgia, man. You'll never see Kathy Kelly out there sniffing Seth Rollins.
What about Charlie Caruso?
Amazing.
Everything's
It's
like,
one of those
That's
fucking
someone, I
generic
think.
model announcers.
Kelly's mom?
Yup.
Yeah.
Or
Kathy
daughter?
Kelly.
has got it going on.
That's Stacy's mom.
What'd you think of Colonel Robert Parker's promo, Brett?
It
Do you
was
only know
whatever.
him-
It just reminded me, and you're gonna laugh, but it just the whole Dick Slater, Robert Parker thing. I was like, this is Michael Cole and Jack Swagger from 2011
Okay.
Interesting take.
I loved
because this is this is one of the first things I saw
I-
watching wrestling.
Okay.
I loved this promo. I thought it was a fire promo.
Colonel Robert Parker is a truly underrated manager.
And I'm the rooster.
Yeah, he calls himself. Is that an inside reference to the size of his giant cock?
Yep.
Probably.
He's a cock.
TENNESSELLE.
That's good.
That's good.
You.
Next up, we get the Belfast Bruiser taking on Lord Steven Regal.
Yeah, heel versus heel now.
Yeah, that's also
Hey.
a weird one.
Heel
Who gives a
matches are
shit?
really
It was
tough.
it was the best match.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's
We
what
don't know
we
if
do
that's
here.
true. We don't know if that's true.
Jeez
Okay,
Louise,
well,
I guess
who
we
knows?
know what somebody voted.
At this, At this-
this is like amazing. Like it's literally two guys just like
beating the shit.
we're gonna beat the shit out of each other.
So, Lumberjake, you posted a video of Finley's debut.
Yes.
The Belfast Bruiser's debut.
Yes.
And the one thing I noticed was that screenshot looks like 2019 Chris Jericho.
Yep, sure does. It's really weird.
But I also noted that the second the Belfast Bruiser came out, I was like, he looks older in 1996 than he does now.
That's so true.
Finley looks great now. He
Yeah.
still does. He was at a cameo at the Royal Rumble.
That holds true for a lot of guys on this show. DDP looks great now, better
I
now
love
than he
his
did.
chia pet hair.
Listen,
About 11 guys look way worse, though.
I love.
Make that 12.
R.I.P. JC.
Saying you have an opening.
Believing.
Oh, you sad version of Don't Stop Believing.
At this point, Finley is 38 years old, and Steven Regal is 27 years old.
So I'm glad you mentioned his age, because even in the notes you were making earlier, Mikey, about 35-year-old Sid Vicious, I'm 36.
Yeah.
And 35-year-old Sid, 37-year-old Finley.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Steven Regal is accompanied to the ring by Jeeves, or as Dusty Rhodes called him, Chives. Doing the fucking peace sign.
Now, this was before or after.
This is post Sir William.
This is post, and this
Post.
guy was he didn't have any kind of, he never talked on the mic or anything?
No.
He was just a jobber.
Nope, he was Wildcat Willie.
I said a jobber.
He was Wildcat Willie would never wrestled, but outside the gimmick, he was Jeeves, and that's why Finley always bullied him mercilessly.
I also love that there's the Blue Blood stable.
Yes.
I had forgotten about them.
Yeah, the Blue Blood stable, fucking out of Bobby Eaton, Dave Taylor, Finley, Steven Regal. 3 out of those 4 guys would be in WWE in 2006. Like 10 years later.
10 years
They'd
later.
all be signed, other than Bobby Eaton, a guy who could have been signed.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, this was one fucking hell of a stiff match. They really laid into each other.
And I think this is something the crowd could really get into. Just like a fucking fight.
Well, when you got, you mentioned 2 heels, the best way you're going to get a reaction is just to beat the fuck out of each other.
And what better way to set the mood than come into the ring, take off your jacket, and just start whipping.
Yeah, and nail him with a fucking shoulder pad.
I don't know what it is. It's tough to take people seriously, like when Taz wears his bathing suit tights.
Yeah.
And Finley's in his bathing suit.
Just
And-
like the no legs,
Yeah.
rounded bottom, Mae Young fucking outfit.
Yeah, like I don't care how badass you are. There's just something silly about it.
Oh my god! And then Regal went to that in like 2008, and it was like a full top with like a floral pattern.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so funny. Like Regal being such a comedy guy during me growing up, like in the 2000s and stuff. He like seeing him being such just a fucking scrapping brawler and seeing that in that stuff. You think you're gonna see like technical wrestling with him, but it was just I don't know if they did a move other than just punches and fucking elbows. And
Yeah, just one. Regal goes to grab Finley, and Finley's just like, nope, fuck you. Punches him right in the nose, fucking busts him open and everything. It was fantastic.
So Lumberjake, you do a pretty good Dusty Rhodes impression.
all right.
Why don't you go ahead and read this for me?
Oh, Jesus.
I gotta read this too.
This is verbatim during the Finley and Lord Steven Regal match.
Yeah, but he's coming back strong right here. Yeah, he caught him with a boot, and then he come up with that uppercut, and then they took his head off. Got him in the situation down on the mat. If there's such thing as a game plan, then this one right here, this is it for Regal, to keep him down on the mat and keep his fistuses away from your faces, because he can stomp a mud hole in you at any given moment. I'm talking about the Belfast Bruiser. Bobby?
Thank you.
Thanks, Dust.
I get man, you'll never get something like that on TV.
Go ahead.
There's another thing, just because we're on talking of Dusty and his commentary. I write down, there's literally one thing that just like made me laugh hysterically, and he's like, and he kicked him in the belly willy.
Well then, and after Dusty says Bobby's reply is fists, faces, stomp a hole on the Belfast Bruiser. Like it's just like, I think like it's one of these things where now that like Tony's setting him off, like Dusty, go ahead and say what you want to say, and then it's like, all right, throw it away, Brain. How are you gonna follow up with that one?
Listen,
English.
I'm just telling you what
It was just a couple of koalas on commentary.
Still more understandable than Dusty.
Well, and then Bobby Heenan to Dusty Rhodes. I speak 17 different languages, but I don't speak Texas.
Fucking Fucking an up and over was countered into a drop kick by William Regal.
That's my favorite spot of the match.
Same.
Blew my mind.
It was just so good.
Also, at one point, Finley goes to grab a chair and hit Regal, but they're all attached. It's like a string of chairs.
It's a row of chairs.
Yeah, he's just trying to pull it. He can't get it.
He's not the only one who tries.
My spot is Finley inventing the curb stomp. He very forcibly takes his knee, and like Regal is on the mat, and he pulls him up, and then he just decides, hey, my knee should go right behind his head, and then smashed his face right into the mat. And I'm like, did he just invent the curb stomp?
Fucking Steven Regal does a Cactus Jack elbow in this fucking match.
That was after he suplexed Finley
over the top rope,
and then decided, hey, why not just give him an elbow drop?
Do you think originally they were trying to build to a count out finish? Because I felt there were a couple of times where they brought it to the outside and they kept on.
And they should have been counted out.
Right. Well, then Nick Patrick's following them around.
This is WCW.
It's uncensored, brother.
Finley kills Regal with a punch to the fucking face.
Yeah.
Murders him. And that's not even the one that gets him. He's fucking Regal's up on top of him, and Finley just blasts him in the fucking face. And then Finley sees he's not bleeding yet, so he's like, fucking. I watched a shoot interview with William Regal after this, and he goes, Finley told me to grip my teeth as hard as I could, so I did. And then he punched me in the face and broke my orbital and nose.
Jesus.
In the same punch, busting him wide open.
Holy
well,
shit.
you showed us. Go ahead.
Leading to my favorite spot of the match, when after he busts him open, they brawl down the aisle and he slams him into the Doomsday Cage. And Regal just turns around and does the peace sign while the fucking full bloody faced and shit. I thought that was the fucking. And he also monkey flipped Finley over the top rope, where he gave him a double kick and just launched him over the top rope.
That was really cool.
It was brutal.
That led right to the finish.
Which led to the finish where the Blue Bloods just ran out there randomly.
Do you have any tabs?
Bump,
Beat him up.
bump, bump.
That ruined the match. And all.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
like
but again,
so-
every finish on the show was like,
I
fuck
know,
finish.
but still.
Fuck finish.
Also because it's 1990.
I don't care if two heels are wrestling each other. Fuck finish.
Also because it's 1996. Bobby Heenan, it's the final insult. No Leslie Nielsen.
That was hilarious.
Like, wait a second.
I appreciated that. Regal brutally backhands Finley to end it when they're holding
Give him a receipt, brother.
He's fucking belted him.
Nails him.
JC, how long did that match feel to you?
I'm going to go 15.
It was 17:33.
Still pretty good.
You know, I can start this next segment with rhymes, or I can start it with riddles.
God damn it.
Loch Ness, when I get you in the ring, I'm going to smoke you like bacon on the griddle. What the fuck was that?
An amazing promo.
Yeah, that's going to be every one of my promos.
He's like so passionate about it too. It's like, I'm gonna smoke you like bacon on a griddle.
Like, he had too many words in there, too, so it was like,
The Giant's still angry about having to use a computer earlier.
CompuServe. What the?
I love the GIF we'll post it on threewaytheater.com and on our Facebook and Twitter. But I love the GIF of him like, what's up? One finger down,
Yeah.
enter.
Smash.
I also love the interpromotional war between AOL and CompuServe. WCW at CompuServe.
I had
You
CompuServe
fucking
as a
nerd.
kid.
You fucking nerd.
I did. I had CompuServe. It was my very first internet connection.
I mean, I had web TV, so I'm not going to talk shit.
Okay. Todd Harris, what was your first, just DSL?
My phone.
Verizon Fios.
Wi-Fi.
I don't know.
He's always had technology.
never-
I've always
he
had
doesn't
technology.
It blows my fucking mind.
You never had to get one of those AOL discs with 100 free hours?
I know we had AOL when I was a little kid.
Does not even that can't even be true because
I have no clue.
AOL was gone by 2000 because we
Yeah.
were just all using AIM by 2005.
Yeah, that was the only thing that was keeping AOL afloat.
Right.
They announced the winner of this
Sorry, we're talking about wrestling.
They announced the winner of the Giant versus Loch Ness is going to wrestle Ric Flair tomorrow, and I feel robbed of a Loch Ness versus Ric Flair match.
Do you?
Yes, because I watched all of Loch Ness's matches
Leading up to this?
Yeah, just all of his matches in WCW.
How many were there?
7.
Did he ever get beat by Goldberg?
No.
That
This
would've
was
been a good one,
this
right?
was his last match in WCW.
Oh.
Yeah. The Grim Reaper beat him. Gene pimping the hotline And he was talking
Shocking.
about, I think he was teasing Brett's impending retirement.
With
Or-
Lonesome Dove with his acting career.
Okay, all right. I was gonna ask who they were talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1-900-909
9900.
Phone number no longer in service.
That's a number that will just always stick in my head.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's such a good number.
And I think we talked about this before. You never called the hotlines,
No,
Mikey? No.
I didn't call like
Nana would have got mad
He never
at
got
you.
Nana's permission.
He would have done it. You wouldn't have done it behind her back?
No.
I mean,
He would have gotten in so much
when
trouble.
when you first call, you get like you can hear like you don't pay anything yet until you like
You gotta, yeah.
you know you press like a button or two.
So you just call
So
and
you
try
just
to
call
get.
him, yeah, I just want to listen to see what was going on.
Wow, it's Kevin Kelly doing a voiceover.
Oh, he's gonna tell me what's going on for today. Like, cause Monday would be like I don't know trivia. Tuesday would be like what's going on after Raw report.
And you do the same thing for Miss Cleo.
I don't.
Call today.
I don't think it was Cody Boynes, but around around this time there was a local New England hotline that had like it was pretty much saying like notes off of Meltzer.
1-800 McCheese.
It was a radio show that I used to listen to where we get all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
Cody would always give Meltzer's reporting, and that would be kind of like the big thing to watch on TV. But there was a hotline that you could call locally that would give you the second and third hand news about WWF and WCW.
They tell you what Cody Boynes reported from Dave Meltzer.
Exactly. But I didn't have to pay for it.
Because
So
you know, tape trading was still big at this time too. Like
big tape
DCW
trader.
was like huge as well as coming at this time as far as tape traders go. So like,
Mhm. Man, you missed
such a
out on
different
so much
time.
fun. Brett, Todd, Ryan Gosselin. I feel like you missed out on such like a great part of being a wrestling fan. Now everything's at your fingertips.
Yeah, it is.
You can watch whatever you want.
Next match we got was Colonel Robert Parker taking on Medusa.
Can we talk about the Loch Ness promo?
Can we
though?
talk? Can we talk?
yeah, we have to
Like we have to talk about that promo and Gene Okerlund recommending him to his good friend down in Florida.
It looked like he really hurt Loch Ness's
He
feelings.
sure did. He sure did.
He just kind of looked at Gene and was like, "Huh."
And is Loch
Gene
Ness?
barely sold it.
I can't tell you what I'm gonna do to Jimmy Hart on the television, but I rest assured, when I get my hands on Jimmy
Okay.
Hart, you're gonna find out.
Jimmy Hart's gonna know all about it.
Now is he? What is he? Is he
Scottish.
okay?
He's the Loch Ness monster.
I would have
He's
guessed.
dead.
Yeah. No, he just.
He was one of the British legends, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks.
Okay.
So his promo was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
His teeth were worse. He was fucking.
Do you think he smelled?
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Bret Hart said that he smelled in his book.
Yeah.
He wrote about it in extensive detail.
He wrote a separate book about it.
He talked about like flies dying when they went by him.
Wrestling with shadows under Loch Ness.
Didn't he say he weighed 700 pounds? or something?
He said that.
750 pounds.
Whoa, all
Oh,
right.
he undersold it.
Yeah, that's he legitimately weighed 750 pounds.
Didn't look like it.
My 700-pound wrestling life.
Well, he's 6'11", 750.
Wow.
So you have to think he looks morbidly obese for 7'11" or 6'11", excuse me. But
Yeah.
like that's really really big. But yeah, he was legitimately when he broke in. Okay, we're getting ahead to his match. We got Colonel Robert Parker and Sherry and Medusa first.
Yep.
Parker was set to marry Sensational Sherry because she hit her head and got amnesia and
Yep.
thought that he was the best.
Classic storyline.
And they were set to get married. Medusa showed up and interrupted the wedding, and turns out that Colonel Robert Parker was two-timing her with Sensational Sherry.
Whoa.
His little fried pie.
What?
And Medusa interrupted the wedding, beat up Sensational Sherry. Colonel Robert Parker tried to talk his way out of it.
Hold on. So why wouldn't this turn Sensational Sherry into a babyface?
It was Medusa's the one getting cheated on. I think they were both baby faces.
It's not
Yeah.
what the storyline
Although
intends for.
I don't think she was, because wasn't she with the Harlem Heat at this point still?
Who the fuck knows? Judging from this show.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
Okay. Colonel Robert Parker is 45 here, and Medusa's 34.
do you think she had any regret or
Regard.
like maybe a little remorse? Like she's in this match, she's doing this with Rob Parker.
Oh, you mean remorse for throwing the WWF title into the trash can?
Yeah, or maybe not even just the jumping ship in general. Like you
Like,
feel like she by this
he-
point it's March. She came in December of '95.
It's promised a women's division.
Yeah, but she exactly. But
Yeah, legit.
She went. You're right. She goes from being like coming from a respected position in WWE and then being in a match with a man where she has to sell a body slam like she just fucking won the goddamn Olympics or some shit.
And it's all downhill from here because in years later she feuded with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And like Evan Courageous.
She
But
fucking.
she's always been in programs with men.
She has, but I don't know. I guess I just look at it as
she was set to face off against Aja Kong at the Royal Rumble 1996, and then that got scrapped when she left, which they were bringing in Japanese women's wrestlers, so they were taking the shit seriously. They were building WWF was building a division for her, you know?
strictly just around Alundra Blaze.
Yep.
Yeah, she was WWF's Hulk Hogan. She had Monster of the Week, whatever.
What's even funnier is that WCW pulled through on their plan. They established a women's division.
They did.
They did a women's title from December 29th, 1996, and it says it was retired in 97.
Yeah, because they did about 2 or 3 matches.
Exactly.
The real kick in the teeth is I believe the first champion was Kira Hokuto, not even Medusa.
You're absolutely correct on that.
The last one was Devil Masimi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they call her the Devil Dog.
I love me a good devil dog.
Yeah.
I prefer a Swiss roll.
Me too. That's what they call Cesaro. This match, the match starts with Colonel Robert Parker shaking hands with the ref, and Tony Schiavone revealed that he actually slipped the ref 100, but the camera didn't get it,
That's
and the ref gave it back to him. And Colonel Robert Parker is announced as 190 pounds.
Yeah, in his bra.
They were off by 50 pounds. Why call him 190 if Medusa's going to be body slamming him? Call him 240,
Right.
and that's even more impressive.
Well, I mean, it was so obviously low that it had to be
was that a joke?
Right.
Was the announcers paid off too?
I think that's what it was. I think he's like, announce me as 197 pounds. Will you? I'm
Well, then
sweating.
you got to do it the Derek Andrews way, where I'm like, no, sir, no, I weigh 190.
I agree.
Like, I don't know, like make it fucking.
Dusty loses his fucking mind.
They all lose their mind.
But
That's
they
like
locked up with her. Oh my God, it's running amok.
running among.
Oh no,
He locked up with her.
My God.
Favorite
And he
spot.
broke
by the way.
It broke clean.
Man, if they were announcing Nia Jax coming into the Royal Rumble, they would have lost their goddamn
That was my
minds.
favorite spot of the match, right there.
Right there.
The lockup.
I'll tell you. I mean, there's not much to talk about in the map, but I'll tell you my spot of the match. It's the Medusa dive where Dick Slater's like, "Fuck that."
Yep. It looks like he's going to go catch it, but he's like, nah.
He walks to their vicinity and then looked like he's going to be there for
Yes!
it. And then just decides, no.
And it's all Rob Parker.
And Rob, almost turns into a black hole slam. trying to, protect her.
Yeah, right? He gave her the Baron Corbin end of days.
Yeah, exactly.
he gave her a breast exam right there.
My favorite spot of the match was the airplane spin into the sunset. That was
Went
brilliant.
nuts for that.
The crowd was really
And then the big
into
body
this.
slam.
Yeah.
Colonel Parker was such a bully in this, and I love that he was not Robert Fuller. He was not wrestling. He was not wrestling legend Robert Fuller, who's been wrestling
manager.
since the '70s.
Not the trash man?
Whoa, Harris! Don't you ever?
Rob the Trash Man.
Sorry,
had cool little
sorry.
red elbow
You say it one more time, he'll appear.
Oh no! We got Beetlejuice rules on this.
Yep.
You got trash everywhere.
Right, there's something to take out the trash.
Bum, 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 bum.
But yeah,
All right.
Colonel Parker gets a German suplex, and Dick Slater slips out Medusa's leg out from under, and he just rolls on top of her for the pin.
Rolls on top of her. He raped
He
her. brother.
molests her.
He sure did. He was like, how's this fit in your mouth?
Yeah, it looked like the fucking sex scene from fucking The Room, where he's lined up with her belly button and stuff. So, JC, just a quick question for you. Roughly, how long did that match feel to you?
I'm gonna call it. I want to be generous, and I'm gonna call it 6, but I would say more like 4.
It was 3:47. Now,
Perfectly, just exactly how it should have been.
no,
Yeah, but should the finish have been that finish?
Sure. I think it just looked
yeah, I
awkward.
thought that was great.
I think it looked
So
awkward.
what's the payoff though? So Rob Parker just wins.
Yeah, he's just a misogynist, but he
Yeah,
needed a cheat
he
to beat
needed
her.
it.
It was a moral victory for her because she body slammed him and she fucking German suplexed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, and they had to cheat to win.
Yeah.
Moral victory.
Okay.
Now, an immoral victory. DDP versus the Booty Man.
Here we go.
In parentheses, I have next to this match, kill me.
Hold on a second. Before we get there,
Oh.
I want to thank Johnny B. Bad. You know, I put
Yeah.
him over in the Super Bowl '91 review. He can go fuck himself.
So Johnny,
after this one.
so Johnny B. Bad gave his notice to WCW to leave for WWF, which he would appear at WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania 12 was his debut.
Yep. So he really screwed things up. This was supposed to be a loser leaves town match between DDP and well, luckily the Booty Man was there to
It was supposed to be
slide
DDP.
right in.
It was an I Quit
Luckily,
match.
right?
Yes.
It was an I Quit match. But OSW review said it best. That they said it's more like an I'll quit match because it's not like you like a microphone in the face. I quit. Yeah, this was supposed to be Johnny B. Bad. They've had 4 previous pay-per-view matches, 3 of which were in a row. 3 pay-per-views in a row.
I remember
Johnny
this
B. Bad
vividly.
versus DDP.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been the 5th in a row, or 5th altogether, 4th in a row.
I'm really bummed they never revealed who DDP's benefactor was.
Kimberly.
No, it was like it was a man's hand, and
Kimberly has man hands.
oh, is
Like
that why they
episode of
call her that?
Yeah.
Kimmy Man Hands.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Mikey? Do you remember the storyline?
I remember this him being like
This is after.
right, but I don't remember the hand.
He got rich, and he had a
Right.
benefactor that helped get him paid.
I thought he won the lottery.
And-
No.
No, well, that's his initial run when he said he won the
Okay,
lottery.
and then he spent all.
but he was really just taking Kimberly's $18 million bingo winnings.
won $18 million in bingo.
Nope.
Oh, WCW.
so Brett, you have strong feelings about the Booty Man.
What the fuck is this dude? Like, you think the Zodiac's dumb as shit? You think fucking Brutus Beefcake's dumb as shit? No. We have the Booty Man. Waka fucking Waka. His finisher is the high knee.
Get
Did
it?
you say Waka fucking Waka?
You sure did.
Yep.
That's a new shirt.
I
Get
literally
it?
put.
But hold on, but do you get it? The high knee.
I fucking get it. It's
clever.
This is like.
I think it's very clever.
Clever.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's clever. Oh.
So I have I have a little bit of not of a game, but just kind of like we can all go around with this. It's primarily for Brett, but I'd like you guys to kind of guess along as well. When we're speaking strictly in television terms, being on TV, but I would like you to tell me the number of gimmicks that Mr. Ed Leslie has had
Now,
as a performer over the years.
Are you going to count like Dizzy Boulder?
Well, I mean, yes, because that's been on TV. So what I'm talking about is strictly television. So this could be down from Memphis. This could be to
Todd should go first.
yes. And
Brett.
I will Brett and Todd can go
Both of
first, and then there are a couple that were never like official. So I'm gonna give a little wiggle room, and I'll give you like a within one.
Okay.
Like-
Now is this Price is Right rules? If we go over,
sure. Yeah, we can do that.
so we can't go over. What's the prize?
Well, actually, there are prizes for everybody, but we'll save that for after.
All right. Yeah. Brett, go first.
10.
10. Okay, Lumberjake.
Do you want to go or I'll go? I'm gonna say 23.
Oh, Lumby.
I'm going to say 12.
Okay. So this is official. This is what I've been able to get as far as officially on TV, like graphics and all. This is what we have: the history of Ed Leslie.
Do you have a slideshow to play?
I wish I did. I'm sorry.
Let's pretend to use.
Yes, here's slide number 1.
Can I just point something out before you start? I feel like Ed Leslie was the first victim of Vince McMahon owning a gimmick.
Yes.
Where everyone makes fun of him for having so many gimmicks, but he was like any other indie guy that lost his fucking gimmick and had to change his name to something, a variant of it, or something weird to try to compensate for it. Everyone else back in those days had their own name, and that's what they used. he was so many other things. That Brutus Beefcake was a WWF invention that he couldn't take anywhere. That sucks for him.
I 100% agree, and I think he is the first and probably the worst victim of these circumstances.
Yeah, the booty man.
All right, so again, as I mentioned, this is strictly, I tried to confirm as many of these as I could, so this is the official.
This is it.
The history of Ed Leslie. So he debuted in 1977 as Ed Boulder, teaming with Rod Slinker against Ox Baker and Eric the Red. That was his debut match. He also competed as Eddie Hogan.
Okay.
And then became Dizzy Hogan.
I know he's also Eddie Boulder.
Well, that was what I said. That was his debut as Ed Boulder.
Yep, I lost.
So we're at 3. He then debuted as Brutus Beefcake when he joined the WWF. Now, this is where we can kind of wafer if you consider the Barber being a separate entity than...
The stripper version of...
Right,
Brutus
he debuted
Beefcake.
as a male stripper, Brutus Beefcake.
And then became the Barber at WrestleMania 3.
Correct. So, to me, it kind of feels like it's a complete
Yeah.
reinvention of the character.
Yeah, that's
Would
fine.
you agree with that? Okay.
Yes.
So, we're at 5. He became the Barber in 87 after he cut Adrian Adonis' hair, and then would remain the Barber until he arrived in WCW in 1994.
The man with no name?
Nope. He
Butcher?
was...
Butcher.
No.
Oh.
He was Brother Brutai.
Oh, Jesus Louise.
That's
right.
Brother Brutai was buddies with Hogan until the shocking turn where he was revealed to be the Masked Man.
And then the Butcher.
Right, so the Masked
He
Man...
butchered his friendship!
So the,
Thanks, Dustin.
the Masked Man was unveiled to be the Butcher. And he was a part of the 3 Faces of Fear with Kevin Sullivan. So now we are at... So we're at 8. The next one, the Man with No Name.
Okay.
Man with no name, of course, he was just kind of floating around, had nowhere to go.
Had no name.
No identity. He didn't know who
Out of
he
work,
was.
out of worth.
That would result him in becoming Zodiac.
Yes. No. Yes. No.
As seen in Mr. Nanny for some reason.
For some reason. Well, before the Zodiac was a wrestler.
Right. That would bring us to these random babyface turn for the Booty Man, who this was a direct relation to.
Hold on. You said it was random. It's not. He was an undercover agent in the Dungeon
God.
of Doom the whole time.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
made sure
yeah,
to tell you
Hulk
that.
Hogan-
They
Hulk-
made sure to tell you that in this fucking match the whole fucking time.
Hey, I love that explanation.
What else are they gonna talk
It's at least
about?
an explanation.
Exactly.
It's at least an explanation.
He was an infiltrator from the inside.
The whole time.
Take down the Dungeon of Doom.
Yup.
The Booty Man would not last long in WCW, however.
I wonder why.
He showed up at Hog Wild 96 attempting to join the NWO.
As the Booty Man.
He was still the Booty Man. He showed up with a birthday cake for Hulk Hogan to try to gain entry into the NWO, where he was quickly beaten.
That's what we're going to watch with Dan Terry.
And he was beaten to a pulp, and he was gone for 18 months.
Wow.
Until he
Could grow a beard.
reemerged as the Disciple. And the Disciple, it's one character, but he was now a part of the NWO, but would then jump ship
To the OWN.
to the OWN.
The One Warrior Nation.
That's correct. And he would actually remain as the disciple until his last WCW match. It was on Saturday night in 1998. And he actually wrestled in like a Brutus Beefcake gear, but he was still known as the Disciple. So it still counts as the Disciple.
Weird.
So, Lumpy, you were pretty close.
What was the number?
So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Great radio.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Ah, so close.
So both you guys, both.
Where?
No, he went over. Todd wins.
Oh, I said 12.
Yeah, I got 10.
So yeah, but he got 11 close without going over. Lumpy is the winner.
Job, Lumpy.
Yeah.
Well, boys, we have 2 rules here.
No, wait, no. Close without going over. So, yeah, Todd Harris won.
Told you.
Brett Gosselin won.
Oh, well then nobody gets a prize.
Not that jerk, Todd Harris.
Nah, there's only there's only 2 rules here on Throughway Theater. 1, no smoking.
Oh.
2, smoke 'em if you got 'em.
What?
These candy cigarettes.
Yeah! They sure are candy cigarettes. Yep. peck stallions.
Oh, these are cool.
That's imitatable.
Have you ever had these?
He's never seen these before.
I was going to say, are these new to you?
No, they're not new to me, but
Have you ever had candy cigarettes before?
Yes.
You
They were
fucking liar.
His
No, I
generation
have.
only has candy vapes.
That's
Candy
right.
Jewels.
yeah.
All the party favors you get here on Three-Way Theater. Candy cigarettes.
Now remember the ones that you could actually when you puffed on it?
Yeah, that has the smoke. Yeah.
Looked like powder came out. It was just sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so fucking
So
cool.
anyway, Booty Man beat DDP with the high knee.
Did anybody have a spot in this match?
Let's see.
I'll also mention.
I've got several. None of them involve the Booty Man.
I will quickly mention that although I couldn't get confirmation of these other names, he could have also have gone by at one point another Baron Beefcake.
Oh yeah, you also forgot the man with no face. The fucking fur face, the Mariner, whatever you want to call him.
Well, the Mariner's on here. The Clip Master,
Yeah, that was the same thing as the Mariner.
Brute Force, and
pretty funny.
Big Brother Booty. Again, some of these are just more nicknames than their official gimmick names.
The fur face one, that was when he was doing a gimmick where he did run-ins to save baby faces. It was after his accident, and he would headbutt people and knock them out with the titanium plate in his face.
Well, she would get fucking knocked out.
So,
Bruce Beefcake, friend of the show. Me and Mike Pava worked him back.
That's right, and he hit on Mike's mom.
sure did.
That's true, and Mike's mom hit on him right back.
So I asked Katie Pineapple what she thought the Booty Man's finishing move is.
Uh-huh.
Of course, as we mentioned,
Did
it's
she
the-
also fall in love with him like
it's
the Diamond Doll did?
Nope, she did not.
I wonder why.
She said the booty drop,
Okay.
and I was like,
Would have been good.
not bad.
That's pretty good. That's more of a more modern finish.
Definitely.
Side note, DDP looked like complete shit in this match.
That was
Because-
intentional.
That was the gimmick. The guy had had a hole in his crotch in his fucking gear.
I get the whole looking like shit.
Oh, okay.
But in the match itself, he didn't look credible whatsoever.
No, that was
Especially-
meta. That was also a part of his.
That was all part of it.
I'm gonna
Because
say
you got the
yes.
ref pushing him.
The match between DDP and Booty Man was terrible. The match between DDP and Nick Patrick was phenomenal. Like
DDP is
he
very-
shoved him in the match in the ring, and then he shoved him off the fucking apron. That was my spot of the match.
Fucking DDP tries the ref push spot, but when he gets pushed and takes the bump, he goes right back to a chin lock.
Fucking DDP took a bump out of the ring, fucking rammed into the post, and turned around and fell over the barricade. And I feel like he already did that with Johnny B. Bad the last time we watched the show.
I feel like this is DDP literally saying, fuck this.
Yeah,
Just fuck
Well, he
all
really
that.
got screwed.
yeah, and then he had to watch his fucking wife kiss Brutus Beefcake.
But she wants him to be
DDP
his
likes getting
boyfriend.
cucked.
It's
He's so cute.
if you believe the rumors. Also, my second spot of the match was the drop down into small package.
Yeah.
DDP dropped down and Brutus Beefcake just stopped running mid and just kind of fell over and rolled forwards. It was the most awkward shit I've ever seen.
I had nothing.
My favorite
Nothing.
spot is getting his head slammed into all three turnbuckles.
Yep.
Followed by a great sell by DDP as he just fell ass first through the bottom and middle rope.
Yep.
Ass first, booty first.
Well, it's just DDP.
I know.
This was also great. Fucked up the they fucked up the crossbody spot, which was supposed to be the cutoff. As you can tell, he's like he goes down. Next thing you know, they just look at each other, and then Ed Leslie goes for the cover, and then they get up, and they're like, "Okay, let's try that
do it again.
Who do you hate more, Spivey or Ed Leslie?
Booty man.
Not the Booty Man specifically.
Specifically, the Booty Man.
Well, Spivey is like a piece of trash too, but still.
So Mark Marrow left the company because he was a Christian man and did not believe he should be going around with another married man when he was married himself and kissing another woman. So he left the company.
And while that is what has been reported and I believe to be true, in that book that I read also talked about Marrow signing, and one of the big sticking points was a contract that Bischoff was to sign over, basically stating that if Marrow was hurt at all on the job, health insurance would be covered up to 100% of the cost.
Yeah.
So getting injured in a
Up
match
to
or
100%.
like basically no co-pays, basically would be covered if
How the
anything
fuck
would happen.
did he pull that off?
He didn't, which is why he
all right.
left. Basically, it was agreed upon for terms, and then it kept on getting pushed back in the office, and they didn't sign it over. And then Mero kept on asking what's going on. These two, Bischoff and Mero, met at an airport and met in the lounge to kind of talk over terms and try to finalize it, and basically came to an impasse where it was like, are you going to sign this? Because I'm not getting on this plane. I'm not going to go wrestle this match, because if I get hurt in this match, I'm not covered.
In my opinion, Kimberly should have turned and rejoined DDP at this point.
Agreed.
And been just his rich benefactor, or just let him be the rich guy and she just be in like the damsel and like didn't care. Like she's like, okay, I'm okay with this guy.
Meanwhile, she's like in the camera, and she's like, I want him to be my boyfriend.
She was the worst over actor ever.
So bad.
Now, have you ever, Todd? You ever seen? Or, excuse me, Brad. Have you ever seen the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
No, but I've heard of it.
There's this classic scene in The 40-Year-Old Virgin when he's doing speed dating and a woman's tit falls out of her top and she just continues talking like nothing happened. That woman is Kimberly Page. So if you ever want to see her, one of her hooters hanging out, just watch The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
JC didn't hear anything you said after Todd said he's never seen the movie. He's only heard of it.
That's absolutely true, because I just became disgusted. Kimberly was also in, was it Penthouse or was it Playboy?
Penthouse, I want to say. Wasn't it her with DDP?
I just remember looking into pictures of her. If DDP was in there, those were ones that I purposefully omitted.
JC, how long did that match feel to you?
20 minutes.
It was 16 minutes even.
Wow.
I wanted to mention one thing. It's funny. We talked about Mark Mero. He went to my girlfriend's high school.
Really?
Yeah, I
To
actually
speak?
Yeah.
Did everyone cry?
Well, yeah. Kinda.
It's one of those.
It's like one of those.
So there she is in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Uh-huh.
Titty out.
Yeah, I've watched his speaking
Is she
thing.
still with DDP?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these are the pictures I remember.
I
from-
remember these.
Yeah.
Go to the one on the right,
Okay,
on the
this-
top.
This is not a visual medium.
No, it
we're
never
doing.
is. But when do we ever follow the fucking rules?
But we have a giant
Oh,
TV.
right there.
It's a
Go,
visual meaning of the mind.
go
Man,
down.
I remember
right there
all-
to the right.
Oh, there's DDP. Up,
Yeah, there's DDP.
go up.
We're pointing at a screen JC can't look at. You see DDP right there with Kimberly.
Man,
and
these are
if you go to the right and the other related images,
these
there's another one.
these are bringing back some memories.
Oh, here we
man.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys to go outside for a few.
No, I'm gonna stay right here.
The only-
I'm just
Yeah.
happy I have donuts.
The only person enjoying this right now is Tuttle.
Long time listener, first time lurker.
It's not his first time.
That's true.
Oh, okay. That Loch Ness promo, by the way, actually took place after
Yeah.
the
We got
DDP
the
Booty
giant-
Man match.
Well, so I think we also missed the Legion of Doom promo.
Nope, that's
That's coming up.
We got
Okay.
it. It's coming up.
All right.
So in the Loch Ness promo, he calls Jimmy Hart a weasel-faced heart. And
That's fair.
leading up to this match, Loch Ness was upset because Jimmy Hart was promising him a title match and all this stuff. He couldn't deliver, so he ended up like putting his hands on Jimmy Hart, leading to a fight between him and the Giant. Loch Ness is 50 years old. here.
Wow.
Yep. The Giant is 24.
Wow.
And Jimmy Hart is 53.
Okay.
Loch Ness is 6'11". He started his career at 434 pounds, worked his way up to 672 pounds, and at 730 pounds he died. His debut was at the Super Brawl pre-show, jumping Jim Duggan. And after attacking Jim Duggan, he attacked the slew of jobbers that came out to try to stop him, including Craig Pitbull Pittman, Jumpin' Joey Maggs, Sergeant Butterly Parker, and the Barrio Boys, Ricky Santana,
The Barrio Boys.
Ricky Santana and Fidel Sierra, one of Mikey's favorites.
Love Fidel Sierra.
He also beat Scotty Riggs, Buff Bagwell, Alex Wright, and then a handicap match between Kenny Chaos and The Shadow.
Ooh.
Loch Ness came out to Rey Mysterio's music.
I
Yes, he
was
sure
about
did.
to say that.
That was really weird to me.
I think it fit him perfectly, though.
It fit him so much better than Rey Mysterio,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
like by 100%. Giant gets a babyface pop, but Loch Ness is the babyface in this match.
Well, fans didn't
They were
think
dead.
so.
He was dead to them at this point.
Yeah, well, wait a year.
So were his teeth.
Wait a year, he'd be dead to everyone. Yeah, Loch Ness, I had watched all of his matches leading up to this, and I
Why would you put yourself through that?
because they were all 30 seconds long and they were all involved in elbow drop.
Fucking legend.
It was like every one of his matches involved the babyface jumping on him in the corner at the beginning, hitting him a few times, shoving them off of him, hitting an elbow drop.
That's it?
That was it. Huh. Every one of those matches, including the handicap match.
We now know a new spot that Jake is going to be doing.
Yep.
soon.
Yes. Next season, MCW. I guess this. What was your spot of the match? Because I bet I can guess everyone's.
My favorite spot of the match is the Giant goes for the Stinger Splash and flies over the top.
Over the
that's
top.
That's mine.
That's
Ass over
mine.
That's
teeth.
mine.
Fuck.
Dave Meltzer claims that was not a planned spot. And
No
it was
shit.
an accident.
No
Wow,
fucking
Dave, what else you got?
Hot take. Loch Ness hits his big elbow drop, but misses a second one.
Well, at this point, the big nasty Paul White isn't even 1 year into the business.
No, he's a few months.
And he's basically in there as like the general to get Loch Ness through this match.
24-year-old working this is how I felt when I first started wrestling, and I was working all these vets that have been around for fucking 20 years, but they were always terrible. And I'm like, why do I? What?
talking about me.
Fucking Loch Ness was so bad.
Yeah.
And he was just immobile. Shortly after this, though, he was diagnosed with leukemia. And he, one report I saw said he had a 200-pound tumor removed.
Wow.
And
he was now 500 pounds.
Well,
shit, right?
he had to go home on a cargo jet, right? There's no way you could get on a regular.
He probably didn't. He didn't fly.
He had to swim. He's the Loch Ness Monster.
Mikey, do you remember Mr. Biggs at all?
Mr. Biggs.
Mr. Biggs in New England.
I believe so.
So he had moved down to Florida, and when I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, because when he passed away, they had to bring him back. On a cargo jet. The Biggs wasn't just like a play on words; he was actually very big.
Oh, no, the name fits.
He didn't. The name fits. The corpse doesn't. JC, how long does this match feel to you?
29 minutes. Oh, it's let's go 4.
It was 2:34.
All right. Well,
You were gonna.
I was
gonna
gonna
say
go
3.
I was gonna say 3. Yeah.
Chicago street fight.
Well, okay. So we definitely missed the promo.
Yeah, probably.
But no, not probably,
No,
because
it
the
was
match is now.
Thought it was right before the
No,
Loch Ness.
it wasn't. But here we go
wrote
anyway.
it down.
Mikey, here you go.
Oh, well.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
Mikey, I would like you to play the role of Road Warrior Hawk.
Oh, man. It's the hardest one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're gonna just,
Or would you
you're
rather
gonna,
have me be Animal?
No, I'm
or would
You're
you
gonna
rather
destroy
have me
your
be
voice.
Hawk?
I'm good.
All right.
I might not be able to do the rest of the podcast.
That's the plan. All right. So I will be Animal. You will be.
Rough.
Do you want to give it to
No,
Jake?
I'm
You can
good.
pass
I'm
it off
good.
to Jake.
I'm good.
All right. You got to start.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. We're gonna go against. We want to kick everybody's butt, and right now, on a very short time, Sting, Booker T, you're gonna find out why we're called the Chicago Big Bullies. We are gonna be the champions of the Chicago street fight from beating up nobodies. We got to beat the Road Warriors from beating the best. Tell him, Hawk. The medulla oblongata, otherwise known as the brain stem, controls all the body functions. Everything Booker T and Sting. I, an Animal, are going to remove your brain stems. You will have to depend for the rest of your life. Because you'll see, we're the team that says what we're gonna do and then gets the job done. There's no stinking way you two could legally beat us two anytime, any place, especially in our match. A Chicago street fight, the one we're best at. All out blitz, anything goes, nobody cares, especially us.
That's the mentality I had going into this match.
You know, I went in after Booty Man and DDP,
I was dead.
I was dead inside, and I'm
So
like,
make
I
that
can
12.
handle anything after that match. I can handle anything.
Anything?
I thought I could handle anything.
I turned it off. I needed a second. Like I needed.
They
watch
should
the
have
second
put
half.
Medusa and Colonel Robert Parker between these last two matches.
Agreed.
I rewatched. I watched the show twice.
As did I.
I did it in one sitting.
The second time I watched the show,
The second time was rough to get through.
the second time I watched the show, this match came on, and I went and I took a shower. I've got long, beautiful hair.
You sure do.
Takes a long time for me to take a shower. I got out of the shower, and there was still so much time left in this match where they didn't do anything. This is the equivalent of two guys,
A girl in a pizza place.
two guys in the Indies in 1999, or four guys in the Indies in 1999, just going, "It's a street fight. We'll just call it in the ring, kid."
This match just reminds me of when I faced Maine State Posse up in Maine, and it was.
So they were just called the State Posse up there?
Yeah, exactly. I just don't think a tag team street fight, let's say in like a bingo hall up in Maine, that's fine. But when it's on live TV, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything.
Well,
You got a split screen. It's good.
this was
yeah, because I can focus on both screens at the same time.
Originally, this was supposed to be pre-taped, like the previous year's
The Blacktop Bully versus
Blacktop-
Dustin
yes,
Rhodes.
so it's supposed to be in some kind of setting. I would
Chicago, maybe?
I would have also liked to have seen when they used to do the fake concession stand.
Yes!
Like, at least bring that shit out. Like,
I think the best one of these, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, Brett, but I would encourage you to watch Cactus Jack and Max Payne versus the Nasty Boys. Was it like Spring Stampede or like Slamboree '94?
They had
Yeah, it was Spring
couple-
Stampede.
They did a
had
couple
few-
of them.
Nasty Boys were involved in a couple. Like Harlem
That's
Heat,
who I
always
said.
number
The
around.
Nasty Boys. But like, they had
Public
that match
Enemy.
where they went into
Yeah.
the stands and the fake concession
Yeah.
stands, and that was some of the best like garbage. Like it was definitely. I mean, it was not ECW, so you're not going to get it as violent and bloody. But for a WCW show, it was really good stuff. This was the exact opposite.
See,
of that.
They stayed at ringside. They used like a broom and like a
Hey,
trash
that's Ric Flair's
can.
opponent.
Hold on. The brooms didn't come out till at least 25 minutes into this match. Like, and listen, I don't hate it as much as I think it. Time-wise, it definitely could have been cut down.
Yes.
But they were doing some shit, like, besides Animal, because Animal was fucking gassed by the 10-minute mark.
Sure.
Like,
Me too.
But those first 10 minutes were good. No, those first 2 minutes, they were going at it, and then all of a sudden it was like they didn't know what to do next, so they just
Split screen.
ran around.
So, Mikey, I got a snap last night from Katie Pineapple. So you
Hot.
were watching. You were watching this last night.
Yep. Again,
Did you make her watch the entire thing, or is it just
we watched from Booty Man till the end.
Okay, till the end where she broke up with
Where
you?
she killed herself. It was the end of her life. Oh my god.
How did she feel about the Chicago street fight?
She couldn't get over Booker T's romper. And how big his arms were.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
How
Okay.
about his nose
Oh,
tape?
and she liked the Road Warriors haircut, like interchangeable haircuts.
Oh, she liked how they could like lock into each other.
Yes. Yes. They had like the opposite, like
Let's combine Mechazords.
yeah.
So, just to get this out of the way, JC, how did this match feel to you?
34 minutes.
It was 29 minutes and 33 seconds.
All right.
Fucking, I figured it. I agreed with you guys saying maybe the Steiners should have been on there. If you put the Steiners on this show and subtracted the time from this match would have been 24 minutes and 14 seconds. So then I was like, maybe we get JL and Malenko on the show.
Okay.
So I put that on there, and that brought this match down to 20 minutes and 54 seconds. So I was like, Duggan and Bubba might as well make the pay-per-view. So that brought it down to 17:34.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, while we're at it, Slater and fucking Alex Wright had a match. Fucking that brought it down to 15:44.
Holy, that would have been the perfect time for this match.
So I was figuring just put the entire thing on
pay-per-view.
on main event.
That would have made this a 12-match card.
But that's okay.
No.
So
No.
Any of those matches that he just said would have been far better than what we got.
absolutely.
Hawk gets a chair at one point and very lightly taps Booker T in the tummy wummy.
Is that going to really take away his Mandula Oblongata?
And then, yeah, but then
Is that like the belly welly?
then he just hits he hits Hawk, he hits Sting in the back of the head while he's on all fours and just fucking like murders him. No, everybody's hitting everybody in the back of the head.
It's a moitas.
Oh, sorry. Like nobody has any regard.
No regard.
No
They're
kidding.
still doing some like crazy things though, like fucking, the big, huge power body slam from the top rope.
I watched all the Nitros leading up to this, and I still don't understand why it's Sting and Booker T
Sting and
teaming
Booker
up.
T
So
would
that
team
had
up.
to been another late change because I'm convinced that it was originally to be Luger and Sting versus the Road Warriors.
Right.
Or they would have
It
got to
was.
do a stupid triangle match or something.
Right.
It was supposed to be Luger,
And then they
Sting.
decided to pull because they needed extra bodies for the Doomsday Cage.
Now, also another point of this was Macho Man Randy Savage was supposed to face Chris Benoit on this show.
Yep, in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
And I know I was gonna kind of say that for later, but that also got that.
Hold on, let me subtract that from LOD versus.
And we're still at 12 minutes. Benoit was gonna have trouble because he was on a tour of Japan. And they weren't sure he was going to make it back in time. However, Booker T was on that same tour and still made it on time to be at the pay-per-view. So obviously, they decided to go with Savage being in the main event.
So, but again, that means that Hogan was supposed to beat everybody by himself.
It was supposed to be 1 versus 4 originally. Yes.
For like a headbutt to the ball spot, like where the guy falls into the other guy's balls, is a spot that would make like a lot of like quote unquote vets shake their head and be like, ball spot. But the Legion of Doom and Sting and Booker T did a fucking balls like headbutt to the ball spot.
I understand the reason for split screen. I get it in theory, but
Yeah, just like maybe
That's
he's
only
focus
when
on
there's
anything.
something going on.
but no,
And maybe
there are
split
shots
it-
where all 4 guys are in the same shot and it's still a split screen.
and maybe like split up the matches that have split screen, not put them both in a row,
Yeah.
because there's going to be a lot of split screen in the other match too.
Well, and then the worst offender of this was when they did World War III's, where they
Yeah.
had 3 cameras.
3 cameras and 3 commentary teams.
for
I,
each
wa-
yeah.
I watched World War III because I was.
That's going to be your next
That's
best
your
in
next
show,
one, buddy.
Take your pick of your
okay.
year.
I will say, favorite spot, since we're going off of like Road Warriors like no selling stuff. I love fucking pile driver to Hawk. No
Jump
sell,
right up.
Get up, clothesline.
That's classic Road Warriors.
That's
though.
classic Hawk
Yeah,
specifically.
and especially when it comes to pile drivers, which is great.
he no-sold Jerry Lawler's pile driver in Memphis.
On the outside, may I remind you.
I don't want to give it all to Hawk. So my spot of the match was good old Road Warrior Animal. Him and Sting are wandering over near the Doomsday Cage, and Sting has gone off camera to retrieve a chair. And Animal's looking around, kind of wandering.
And he like loses him.
And then just puts his hands up, waiting. Doesn't know where Sting's coming from, and just has both
knows
his
he's coming
hands
from
in the
somewhere.
air and just walking around, waiting for a chair to come at him. And sure enough, right off screen, here comes Sting. Oh my God, a chair! Man, it's a good thing he had his hands up.
There's and like Booker T and Hawk, there's like an Irish whip spot while Sting is dragging Animal by the leg, and they have to like jump over him to avoid snapping his leg.
Booker T goes for the spinneroonie, but Animal takes
Just
a bump,
gloms him.
and then he ends up underneath Booker T, and Booker T sliding his ass all over his face. It's
Oh
fucking
my
fantastic.
God.
Hawk was the MVP of this match for me. He threw 2 fucking drop kicks on the floor in this match.
Booker T's Missed Harlem Hangover is probably my spot of the match.
Okay.
That move just looks like I would never want to take that.
Well, they're really smart
trust
putting Booker
anyone.
in there
No.
over Stevie Ray. Like they were like,
yeah. Do you think this match couldn't get worse? Replace Booker with Stevie Ray.
Oh, but he was involved in the match. Let's not forget
Holy
about that.
shit!
he was.
wearing his smooth fucking outfit.
I love his outfits, that fruit booty.
So
my
after
God.
Sting leaves Booker T to fend for himself to get 2 brooms,
See ya.
then Booker T's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
Sting's like, we have enough brooms in this match. Might as well get 2 more.
So Booker T leaves. Animal follows him, and they end up in the back where Lex Luger's working out.
Right. He's getting his pump.
You know
the
what?
match is up next.
You know what? This is my favorite spot of the match.
So Animal somehow
Bumps into him.
Luger.
Whoa!
Luger's like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah, I love Jimmy Hart freaking out all around, and Lex Luger's unaffected. But Jimmy Hart, oh my God, they're fighting.
They try to handcuff him.
They tape him.
They sure
tape
did.
him,
They
like,
sure did try.
They tried, and I didn't really get the alliance here.
So the alliance was basically that the Harlem Heat wanted the shot at the World Tag Team Championship.
And the only way to get it, Sting said, if we beat the LOD, we will give you a title shot.
Okay.
So
Sting and
basically,
Luger as
these two enemies must come together to defeat the Road Warriors.
Because the LOD had been acting very heelish leading up to this. They had beaten the Steiner brothers and the Nasty Boys using their wrist gauntlet with the spikes. They were using those as weapons.
And the LOD did a run-in during that main event match.
Yes,
with the
Nasty Boys and the Steiners.
So they were definitely kind of playing heels.
Yeah.
In a way.
And yeah, it's so funny that this Chicago street fight was such fucking garbage. And then a year later, at WrestleMania 13, they had like a violent, brutal fucking Chicago street fight, which fucking Ron Simmons got his lung collapsed and like.
I think at this point, I think that WrestleMania 13 match was a diamond in the rough. That was a anomaly because watching Road Warriors WCW work in '96, they were already on their way down. And the majority of their WWF run in 97 and 98 was pretty fucking bad. So I think that Chicago Street Fight at 13 was like their last hurrah.
Guys, let's get to the main event.
All right. Before we get to the main event, I want to play this for you real quick for the debut. No, let's Kim.
Hello.
No, that's still Kim.
Hachi Machi.
Hachi Machi.
Australia.
So on the Monday Nitro from March 18th, 1996, it is the debut of Z Gangsta and his partner in crime. Now,
the final solution.
The solution?
This was where you had mentioned earlier where Pillman was getting the fuck out of Dodge and wanted nothing to do with it.
Yep.
Now, on like WWE's YouTube, they only show about a minute and 30 seconds of this, which just shows the arrival of Z Gangster and Jeep.
Why is that?
Well, it would probably have to do with this in-ring promo after the commercial break. Let's go ahead and...
Tony Schiavone, good luck. Take it, Eric. Bobby Mongo, we've seen a lot of things here on Nitro, but continuing to come up with the shockers. Look at the size of these two men, and I guess you were right when you said last Saturday, we're going to play the very last trump card in Uncensored. We're playing the last trump. You see, Hogan, when you decided to bring your best friend into death row, we just upped the ante. We'll put 2 men in a cage. The Gangster, the Enforcer, the World Heavyweight Champion, the Taskmaster, and the Final Solution. You see, I was after thieves, beggars,
Even
cutthroats,
Anderson's like, oh,
lowlifes, and people that would end
the Final Solution.
Now, for those of you who are not history buffs, the Final Solution was I believe it was some sort of like, was it something from World War II or something?
It's the end game for the Jews.
Well, for the Nazis.
Well, to eliminate the Jews.
It was called the Final Solution.
Correct. Their final solution was to eradicate all Jewish life.
Now,
Who thought this was a good idea?
did the Nazis also have weird painted on mustaches?
I don't have the historical documents to confirm that, but I'm going to say yes.
Now, Jeep Swenson here really has very limited experience in wrestling.
AKA zero.
He claims
No, he does.
He did very little.
Wrestled in WCCW briefly in Texas.
But he's obviously awful. He
Right.
claims to have the largest muscular arms in the world.
I believe that to be a fact.
I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
He's got
It's
enormous arms.
double Jimmy Hart.
He is a double Jimmy.
Never go double Jimmy.
Double JJ. That's what I like to call it.
Ultimate Solution. He which he was later named. He played Bane in the best Batman movie.
No.
Well, listen to our Batman podcast to find out.
At his funeral, he died a year later. Also,
Wow.
he was also in No Holds Barred.
But he looks like he's in such good shape.
Yes,
He looks very healthy.
you should
here.
see his heart though. His
So
heart
he wait, when did he die?
A year after this.
year after. Yeah,
So he died in 97?
97. It may have been 98, but it was
Okay.
fairly soon after
All right.
this.
Because he was still alive when Batman and Robin came out, so it must have been late 97 or early 98.
Both Davy Boy Smith and James Caan spoke at his funeral.
Oh.
Yeah. He was James Caan's bodyguard or something on the set of some movie, and I believe he may have been a bit part in there. Look at Flair bowing to the final solution.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
TWT All-Star, Z Gangster.
Of course.
Yeah, Tom Tiny Lister, star of such acclaimed movie as No Hold Barred,
Slammed.
and Friday.
Uh-huh. Debo.
You may remember Debo from Friday and Next Friday.
Do you know what that means, Todd? Or Brett?
You ever see Friday?
Friday? Or Next Friday?
Or Friday After Next?
His look says no.
Classic movies.
He's like, that's a day of the week.
In this Doomsday Cage match,
Here we go.
we've got Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage taking on Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Mang Barbarian, Lex Luger, Z Gangster, Ultimate Solution, and Kevin Sullivan.
And Brian Pillman?
Now, Ultimate Solution and Z Gangster do not show up.
Jesus Christ. Where the fuck were they?
Where the okay? Let's just
They were
just flat
big
out.
timing 'em.
Do you think anybody had any idea of how this match was supposed to work?
No.
Nobody, because the rules were never fully explained, and even when they were, that's not what happened.
Rules are made to be broken, brother.
Originally, they
Escape
said
the
that
cage.
they didn't say escape. They said Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage has to eliminate and defeat everybody
The
in each
Jews?
cage to move on to the next level instead of just, throwing powder in their face and escaping to the next level.
And hit him with frying pans.
Like, do you think the frying pans was their way of look, we're edgy, this is uncensored?
Yeah.
I'm dead serious.
Yes.
ECW.
This is your brain on drugs.
Oh, this is what I
But
Rachel Leigh
ECW,
Cook.
This was ECW. Frying pans was
Yes.
ECW's mascot. If you think so,
Hey everyone, it's me, Fry, the ECW frying pan.
Well, you know what they say, Mikey? Out of the frying pan and into the WCW ring.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
Yeah.
Zeus was talking about this match in an interview recently, and he said,
My best match.
he said, if Hulk Hogan wants to pay me $50,000 to hit me with a frying pan, then hit me with a frying pan.
Given to him by...
The Booty
Booty
Man.
Man.
Oh, just when you think this match couldn't get worse, it's like, yep, Booty Man's back.
So do you think that the original idea, you start at the top, shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't you work your way from the bottom to the top?
And
like
Arn Anderson in sweatpants.
Well, listen, if you're gonna wrestle with frying pans, you gotta wrestle comfy.
Oh
And
my
But
God.
here's I feel like they put the hard. See, up there was no fucking footing up there.
No, there was not. The entire time, everybody's like,
It was like, I'm just gonna stand on the ribs
Think
over here.
think about Undertaker and Mankind from King of the Ring '98 times 9/11. Right. That's what I'm like. That's the danger you're at. Like they are up there.
So you think they should put a wood floor down or something?
Yes, for sure.
So if they started in the ring, they barely even used the ring.
They
that was
sure
down there.
didn't. Because Ultimate Final Solution and Z Gangster, I'm pretty sure were supposed to be in that bottom ring,
The whole time.
they sure were.
and they just weren't.
And
He's
then
like, hold on, my makeup's not ready.
And then they just
I don't have the Z written on my head.
And then they just left the cage and went back to the regular ring.
Yeah, I actually.
the point?
I actually thought that was smart to go to the real cage
What's
so
the
so the
point?
fans can see them wrestle.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
because there was
another
no.
Well, because the
TV
lights
screen.
are been dimmed to all fuck in
and they
this
still have
Doomsday
the,
Cage.
the red and purple lights all over. It's like, what the fuck?
And then, when Z Gangsta and the Solution get in the ring, the lights are blue. It gets really weird.
Ooh, put on the blue lights.
Randy Savage pulls out powder, and it just kind of like falls on the ground. And it's just everywhere, and he's like trying to scoop it up.
See, I thought the powder got smuggled to him too. I thought that Booty Man had given him.
Nope.
He took the powder out of his tights.
So he had that the whole
But when
time.
Yes, it wasn't baby powder. It was his own bag.
But
He's
when
like, oh
he-
shit.
oh, shit.
It's more like heel powder.
But when he opened it,
That was actually his pet egg scrapings.
ugh. Gross. Meng and Barbarian were underneath Macho Man at that point, so when Macho dropped some of the powder, they both sold it like it was fucking great.
Meng and Barbarian had such little to do in this match.
did-
So
do
there's a point when they leave the cage, they leave the cage and go back to the regular ring, and there's a camera following Meng, Barbarian, and Jimmy Hart as they're just walking down the scaffolding, and they just left.
Well,
They
Yep.
just went to the back.
Do you think
they
that-
get like locked in a side room,
yeah.
and then like that's it for us.
But like that's really smart. They're like, fuck this. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Let's go see if there's anything catering left.
Yeah, it's the weirdest shit ever.
So long.
My favorite part was
What was your spot of the match?
well, okay. My spot of the match was actually Kevin Sullivan pretending to get
Yes.
knocked off the scaffold.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like
Yeah.
hanging. Do you think he like quality tested that before? Do you think he was just like,
I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
what if it just broke?
Well, I thought
I would
that
have died laughing.
I thought that several
He would have
times
died screaming.
during this match. Like when they were taking the bumps to the side of the cage, like into the cage. Like what if that shit just fell open and they
That's what I'm. Yeah.
fell to the ground, or it toppled over and landed on fans?
Well,
Like,
It would have been a lot more entertaining than
yes.
this.
Kevin Sullivan doesn't fear death, so for him, he's like, "Fuck it. If I go, I go." He'll die doing what he loves. But
Spot of the match.
well, yeah, that was my
take care of my
okay.
wife.
That was my spot of the match, but I loved. There was one audio cue from Shivani. Look at this capacity crowd in the background. All the lights are shut off because after they returned to the cage for the final segment,
Everyone
they
left.
shut the main ring, all the lights off in the back, so you could just focus on the Doomsday Cage. So when he's like, "Look at all these people," all the lights are off.
When they had a wide shot of it, you couldn't see shit.
Anything.
like the top level, you couldn't see anything going on. I mean, I give the production crew credit because
They were
Yeah.
getting up in
They
there.
were, yeah,
Little
like,
Craig
they had
Leathers?
the crane,
Craig Leather, yellow leather.
Craig Leather, yellow leather. They had the nice crane views, which was cool. Like the production was pretty good for this.
They did what they could.
They sure did, and phew,
Did you have a spot, Mike?
mine was the
Oh, the
Kevin Sullivan
Brett?
teetering off the top.
The same.
Um,
That was about the
What about
only.
you, Lumbee?
My favorite spot was when Ric Flair was holding Macho Man Randy Savage, and Lex Luger loaded up his glove, and he went to swing. Macho Man ducked, and Lex Luger paused. Felt like an eternity. Just stopped, looked at Ric Flair, and then punched him, and acted shocked.
I do
What
want to
did I
give
do?
one other.
And then they get out of the ring and celebrate like we won. Wait, we were already out of the ring, so Macho Man has to jump back into the
And
ring,
pin him?
pin Ric Flair, and get back out again.
out of all 8 people in that match, who has to take the pin? Ric Flair.
Fucking Flair. Why not Ultimate Solution? Why not Z Gangster? You're paying them for their one appearance and never
Hey,
to come back.
I said I'd get a frying pan. I didn't say I'd lose. I do want to give small props to Hogan during that final spot. He knocks everybody. Big punch, and then almost hits Randy Anderson and stops. And Randy Anderson's like, whoa.
That's pretty great. JC, how long did that match feel to you?
Eternity.
50 minutes.
50?
50 minutes.
It was 25-16.
No way!
25-16.
so which was longer, this or the street fight?
the
Street fight.
Wow,
This felt
this felt longer.
like an eternity. Wow.
While Lumberjake gets the tallies out.
No,
As
I was
far,
getting some munchkins.
well, while he does that, the readers of the Wrestling Observer gave this show thumbs up 12,
Okay.
thumbs down 147, thumbs in the middle 19.
Okay.
Now the best match according to the Wrestling Observer was Eddie Guerrero versus Conan.
Interesting.
And
Bullshit.
the worst match being the Doomsday Cage match with 102 votes, followed by the Booty Man versus Diamond Dallas Page with 14 votes.
Actually, I have different where the Eddie Guerrero Conan match got 3 1/4 stars,
Are you going by? I'm going by the readers poll.
Oh, okay. Well, let me wait till afterwards to give you the.
Okay.
Okay, so the voting for us is going to go best match Finley versus Regal, worst match the Chicago Street Fight. This next vote says best match the Chicago Street Fight.
As happens.
Worst match DDP and the Booty Man. This one best Finley and Regal. Worst match the Chicago Street Fight.
Nuts.
Worst match Booty Man and DDP. Best match Regal versus Finley. So we are tied between what the worst match was, with DDP and Booty Man and the Chicago Street Fight tying.
Okay.
But it is a nearly unanimous decision.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 voted Finley and Regal as the best match of the night.
So I got to ask, who picked Guerrero and Konnan?
What?
Who's?
No,
wasn't it-
someone picked Chicago Street Fight best.
Oh, who did that?
That was
Mikey?
me.
Oh, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, that was me.
Chicago Street Fight best match, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Dave Meltzer said he gave 3 1/4 stars to both opening for the first 2 matches. 1 star to Colonel Robert Parker and Medusa.
Nope, that's better than I thought it would be.
Booty Man and DDP got a dud rating.
Christ.
Loch Ness and the Giant got -1 star.
Negative? No way.
The Chicago
Isn't
Street
even that
Fight
bad.
Yeah.
was Dave Meltzer's match of the night with 3.5.
Wow.
Me melty, baby.
And then the Doomsday Cage got a -3 stars from Dave Meltzer.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to definitely take him seriously, especially after that.
Well, you know,
Moron.
there was something about the intensity of Regal and Fit that I just really enjoyed, and I'll tell you, 1996 JC would have been incredibly bored by it, but 2019 JC, I just loved how fucking stiff it was, just them killing each other. So that's where I kind of landed on it.
Well, boys, we have another show in the books.
Wow. So Uncensored 96. So Mikey, thumbs in the middle?
Thumbs in the middle for me.
Thumbs in the
I
middle?
didn't hate. A lot of people hated this show. Because of the first 3 matches, like,
I love
and
wrestling.
even the Chicago Street Fight. Like, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, yeah, it was fucking long as shit, but they were doing some crazy shit in that match.
Yeah, not really.
I love wrestle crap, and I am nostalgic for the old days. So this was a thumbs up for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was there bad? Absolutely, there was a lot of bad. Was it good? There was some good, but was it ever like really like boring to me? Like in a like I'm gonna fast forward type of way. Besides the 29-minute Chicago Street Fight, I was okay with it.
Yeah, everything. I was okay with most of it. There was the Booty Man DDP and the Chicago Street Fight took a lot out of me.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot that took a lot out of me.
So you would not recommend
that a
this
thumbs up?
I'll give it a thumb in the middle.
middle?
I would primarily go thumbs down.
All right.
All right, that's fair. That's your prerogative, man. That's
what the
okay.
show's all
His
about.
prerogative.
Oh. So another great addition, Lumberjake. What are you picking next out of the vault for best in show?
Next up, we will be with Mr. Dan Terry, the fittest man, making his debut.
Finally.
And his last appearance.
Yes, and Brett, why don't you tell him what we'll be watching?
They are going to be watching my first ever WrestleMania, WrestleMania 27.
Boom.
All right.
Wow.
Get ready to see his favorite match of all time, Edge and Alberto Del Rio.
Alberto Del
Hey, you laugh. I marked out so hard when Edge came out on that entranceway.
How'd you mark out the next night on Raw?
Did you cry?
I didn't watch Raw.
He wasn't allowed.
No, I didn't watch that Raw, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at the info for SmackDown. It's like, how will Edge is shocking news?
And you're like, Christian? There's no way he'll be able to beat Alberto Del Rio in a ladder match.
I was praying he did.
Oh, Christian, no way he's going to lose that title the same week on SmackDown.
That's what I said, too.
So Three-Way Theater, we are now on Spotify.
Yep.
You can go ahead and load up that old Spotify machine.
Is
And
Spotify still one of our biggest?
it is up there. I'll tell you what. I said
I'll
that.
tell you what.
I said that on Flintstones, and immediately Apple Podcasts just fought right back, and they're jockeying for that top spot. So yes, we are on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get podcasts. You can now get Three-Way Theater. Obviously, all of our episodes are still available on threewaytheater.com and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr.
Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, JC?
My hair plugs? You mean no? These are well, you know, Three-Way Theater sponsored today. Our episode sponsored by Soft Serve Brand. You know, it's where you can get all of
logo
your
designs.
Yeah, logo designs.
As long as you're not too picky or complicated.
Right. As long as you are as simple as your request as simple as possible.
Capitalize on your botch or injury.
Or lowercase.
Right.
Capitalize, lowercase.
Yeah, whatever you want, whatever alphabet.
And with affordable prices and quick turnaround.
Exactly.
Soft Serve Brand is the place to go.
Yeah, you can get that on facebook.com/softservebrand. Check that out.
All right.
It's fun.
Official sponsor.
Official sponsor of Three-Way Theater. Well, Lumberjake's wearing one of those soft serve shirts right now.
Yeah, they're very nice. They're very soft.
It's all right. And you were served it right away.
Served right away.
That's our Three-Way Theater Stella shirt. It looks like you're wearing. Looks very nice.
Love this shirt. One of my favorites.
Look at
Mikey's bun on there.
His buns look great.
Yeah. And if you're feeling too soft, well, why don't you try some blue? I'm kidding.
Oh, no. Yeah, we cannot talk about that. Yeah.
That's an unofficial sponsor.
Yeah.
Todd, do you have anything you'd like to? Brett, anything you'd like to? I knew this was going to happen.
He wants to announce his name change.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen too.
Get used to it, man. This is going to be like that for a while.
Everything, yeah, I know. Believe me, I can't wait to go anywhere that I've been in the past couple of years. If you want, I've changed everything. So like Twitter, Instagram.
Don't ever change, man. But where can we find you?
BRG_
wrestles.
Man, you just like to make that shit complicated, huh?
Man, see, I was just kidding
even
about the
that
BRG thing, man. I like it.
BRG was my favorite Roald Dahl book.
Oh, have you seen the movie?
No.
It's really good. You should see it.
Yeah. So that's
next on Three-Way Theater. We promise.
We sure do.
Finally, for realsies,
we're gonna go to the movies and we're gonna see Fighting with My Family.
Three-Way Theater goes to the movies. TWT goes to the movies.
It's gonna be really hard to take notes in the movie theater.
Well, we're going to be the only ones in there.
Yeah,
so
and we're going to be recording it on our phones.
Yeah. I'm really excited to go to the movies. I think that's going to be more, like, again, notes, they're going to be difficult to take, so I think it's going to be more of a free-form conversation just about kind of what we watch. But this is the first time we've ever been able to go to a movie theater to watch one of our
We can have a discussion of, like, what our movie candy favorites are.
Yeah!
TWT goes to the movies.
Ooh, Bunch of Crunch.
Snowcaps. That's where it's at. I'm
Butterfinger BBs, remember those?
Yes!
Todd doesn't. Brett doesn't.
You don't know what that means, do you?
What?
Nope.
Butterfinger BBs.
Well, thank you for listening. Again, check us all out wherever you listen to us. And I'm JC.
I'm
Lumberjake.
And I'm Todd. I mean Brett.
And this has been Three-Way Theater. God damn it. 5-star classic. Match of the night.
Bye.
Medulla oblongata.
Oh man,
My throat really hurts now.